What's going on, guys? It's a bearded one back with another beer review. I just did Omnipolo's Hypno Pampa, I think it's called, and so I'm all crackered up and I had some water to cleanse my palate, and here I am. I'm ready to go with another stout, putting my palate through the ringer this month. I'm serious when I say I'm drinking nothing but stouts this month. This is 35K stout from Against the Grain Brewery out of Louisville, Kentucky. So the can has something interesting to say. I thought I'd read it off for you. Wiggity woo, we're putting in a swimming pool, and if there's enough left over, we're going to fly you all down here to help us dedicate it. This is not your typical Jelly of the Month Club Milk Stout. This stout is silky, smooth, and sweet, and it's worth the 35K, but you can only have a little because the rest is ours. You know, I tried to read up on this beer, maybe get a sense of the marketing behind it. There's just not a lot they say about this beer in general. What else did they say on the website? I don't know. I'm not sure. They do use lactose in this beer. For those of you who are not privy with lactose, that is milk sugar that is not fermentable by beer yeast. It kind of gives it like a creamy, milky sweetness to the beer. They also use Kent Goldings in here, and there's chocolate in here as well. So it sounds pretty good. They bragged about it being kind of balanced, so we'll see if I like it. We haven't seen the Omnipolo review yet. I'm not the biggest fan of stouts. I don't like coffee. I don't drink coffee. I used to hate the way it smells, but I'm getting used to it. The beer world's helping me adjust to coffee anyways. It's 7% by volume, so you can drink, 2-3 of these and be feeling fine. It also says you would want to pour this at 48 degrees. It's been sitting out for quite a while now, so I know I'm going to be getting all the nuance in here that may or may not be in the beer. Pouring out like black tea. Of course, that could be the light hitting it. Get some decent head retention on here. I like to call this shade of brown chocolate milk brown. It's just a very dark, khaki, rich brown anyways. There's some head dissipation going on, but it's not terribly, not terribly aggressive. No brown highlighting whatsoever. I mean, it's just straight up looks like motor oil. It is definitely a stout in appearance. Not a lot of activity going on. Just base, if you're judging a book by a cover, I mean, it looks like a stout and it talks like a stout and it quacks like a stout. Must be a stout. That was an interesting aroma. It's really delicate. Yeah, I get like, I feel like they use the coffee to kind of bitter up this beer. I can pick up on the dark roasted malt in here as well. Yeah, I'm not picking up on the chocolate, and then those Kent Goldings aren't coming through. Hops almost never come through on stouts for me anyways. As you can see, we've almost dissipated all the way down, about like pinky thick, maybe half a finger thick of head. got some alcohol legs going on. Not a lot of lacing around the cup anyways. I don't think it's going to leave a lot of lacing. We'll dig into her. Let me go in again. That was interesting. Let me go in one more time just so I can make sure that I'm getting everything. So the coffee isn't as this beer isn't as bitter as I thought it was going to be, because that coffee. What am I trying to say? That I expected that coffee to kind of bitter up the beer, and then when I kind of read about the beer on their website, they made sure to talk about that Kent Golding's hop presence in here. So I was expecting kind of a bitter beer, and while it's not, I'd say it's more on the balanced side as far as sweet to bitter. There's some bitterness going on in here, but it's not a turnoff whatsoever. Yeah, I definitely taste the lactose. It kind of gives it like a milky finish. I think the lactose may be what's balancing everything out. It's just, it feels, I don't know how to describe this all the time. Where the ingredients don't feel very cohesive to me. It doesn't seem like they're playing well together. It just feels kind of soupy, or it's hard to, I don't know, I find it hard to articulate sometimes, but it's kind of a delicate palate along with the nose for me anyways. Not like American Light Lager delicate by any means, but I mean, it is a stout. I get the coffee as that lactose, sugary, milky finish. The chocolate's kind of hard for me to pick up on, and that's because there's an interesting underlying spiciness for me from the Kent Goldings. I definitely taste a little bit of the hops in here, but I mean, it's very minute. Okay, it's kind of a chocolatey back end, but this wouldn't be like drinking a like a liquid candy bar or anything. It's just kind of a soupy thing where like there's just a little bit of coffee, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of hops, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and it's just like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, there's this, there's that. Like, I'm having to kind of wade through the beer and really think about each ingredient. And for me, that's just what I kind of describe as soupy. Like a soup of ingredients anyways. It's not a terrible beer. If you're a fan of this brewery, I would recommend checking out this stout. I think if you're like a stout connoisseur, maybe stay away from this beer. I think where this beer fits in, its niche, would be getting people used to darker beers and stout. This would be a good beginner stout. Anyways, it's not very overpowering. The palate isn't just gonna punch you in the throat, as Whiskey Tribe likes to say sometimes. It's not a terrible beer though, but I don't love it. There's just, what I like most about this beer is that underlying spiciness going on from the Kenton Goldings. I've never tasted that in a stout before. So yeah, like a beginner's novice stout, I think, is where the 35K stout its niche is. And then as a grade, I'm feeling a 2.75 out of 5. It's above, just dead down the middle average, an above average beer, but it's just not good enough to be even a B minus for me. It just, again, it's like, it's soupy. There's just not enough. The beer just doesn't stand out for me, anyways. I love the marketing on the can, though. I went to the website. I love what they got going on the website. So I definitely want to drink more Against the Grain Brewery beer. But the stuff for me just ain't cutting it for me. It just feels like just a run of the mill stout, anyways. Till next time, guys. Against the Grain Brewery, 35K stout, 2.75 out of 5. Cheers.